WV Uncommonplace. This podcast is a variety podcast that houses numerous series to cover mental health, empowerment, podcast framework, and various intimate theories to get to know the hosts. Along with occasional movies reviews and dives in pop culture with our event podcast episodes. The Uncommonplace digs into bringing guests on that stories don't fit the mold and are very different. WV stands for the great state of West Virginia, and every quarter we cover something in West Virginia. Stacey and myself, JR, are your hosts, so please come along for this venture to Uncommonplace.
Welcome to West Virginia Uncommonplace. One thing that goes on that's a tradition in our household is we watch wrestling, but we're not your average wrestling fans. We don't just sit there and watch Monday Night Raw or AEW, Ring of Honor, MLW, or whatever you want to call wrestling. We watch the premier pay-per-views, SummerSlam, Wrestlemania, Royal Rumble. Don't care about Survivor Series because nothing ever happens great there. AEW-wise, we only watch All Out. Mm-hmm. And outside of that, we watch some of AEW shows, but we go to their pay-per-views.
Right. We go to their live events.
And my name is JR.
And I'm Stacey.
And she is back, finally back from off assignment. She's been all over Kentucky, Ohio, and other parts of West Virginia doing whatever she does to bring the podcast success. So today's episode, we are going to do something special. Earlier this year, late last year, I did an episode called WrestleFest Extended Fest, and we had Stacey on for one of the Lost Tape episodes where she talked about wrestling. We just did a bunch of off topics, but we're here to talk about WrestleMania 39. And you also heard, if you listen to Podfest episode 3 or 4, the Royal Rumble Aftermath, because we watched that joint. We skipped a day of Podfest to go watch wrestling.
Right. So before we get into this, just know we're getting all of our information from Wikipedia. You can find any of this stuff online. If we mess something up, we apologize. Please don't be rude, but reach out to us and let us know if we mess something up, because we will be more than happy to fix it. They have night 1 listed on Wikipedia. They have one match listed on night 2, and then night TBC. So we don't know what's going on exactly, but we're going to go through each one of these matches. Like I said, we're going to tell you what night they have it listed on Wikipedia, and we're going to give you our opinion and what we think. And some of it's going to be rude. Some of it's going to be funny. I mean, some of it might be exciting. I don't know.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. Because when we talk about the first match, I got a lot to talk about the first match.
See, I don't.
You don't?
I don't have a lot to say because I don't. So let's jump in head first. Go on. Who we got?
So the first match we have Austen Theory, who is the United States champion, taking on the legendary John Cena. Mm-hmm. Now, here's my take. Triple H, Vince McMahon, have been building up Austen Theory for no reason. I don't know what they like about him. He did a little bit during the pandemic. He was goofy during the pandemic. Like he was not. He's not a superstar that I think of when I think of my United States champion, my Intercontinental champion, or whatever. But he has been running with that belt, beating everybody. He took the belt off Bobby Lashley, took the belt off Seth Rollins. A bunch of different credible stars that could have had the belt, and this challenge would have been fun. I wouldn't mind seeing Seth Rollins versus John Cena.
Right.
But initially, John Cena's coming back to wrestle. He may win the United States Championship. That is my prediction. I hope that he does dethrone him, because Austen Theory, if he wins it, like he said in the promo John Cena said, it's not going to do anything for his career. People might think it's going to skyrocket him, but it's just going to look like a cheap cash in to say, hey, we're trying to build the next John Cena or the next big star.
Right, and I agree. Austen Theory has not done anything that impresses me yet. I hardly know who he is. Like, if you asked me yesterday who the United States champion was, I probably would have been like, is it still Bobby Lashley? Because I think he's the last one I remember having it.
Right.
And I was a little excited to see John Cena coming back, because my nephews, they like John Cena. I mean, depending on what day you're talking to them, they like whoever is more prominent in the previews and stuff like that. They're 8 and 11 or something like that. But I don't know who Austen Theory is from a can of paint. I mean, that's the nicest way for me to say it.
And that's the general reaction that people get to him. Like to me, let me just do this real quick while we're just at this. All right, let me tell you what a bona fide star is. Let's go into the second match, and this will tell you what a star is. Or tentatively what the second match is.
Okay.
Seth freaking Rollins versus Logan Paul.
Okay.
Logan Paul, for instance, let's take away the actual influencer stuff. Mm-hmm. The kid can wrestle. He wrestled Roman Reigns. He's wrestled big stars. That was the only match he lost, was to Roman Reigns. He destroyed Miz last year. Yeah. He's a high flyer. He's got good spots. He's what AEW should have signed. He is what wrestlers should be built like. Okay. And I hate to say that, even with him being a influencer, it's not the same deal like with Pat McAfee, but Logan Paul can wrestle. Right. And he's exciting. Austen Theory.
Right. I've seen him a few times, like maybe 1 or 2 times. I know the name Logan Paul. The biggest reason why I know that name is because my 8-year-old nephew, when he was watching wrestling with me, he goes, "Oh, look, it's Logan Paul." He was so excited. And so I'm like, oh, okay, so let me watch this. Because, this 8-year-old is excited about this guy, so maybe I should watch. And, okay, I get where you're coming from. I understand what you're saying.
And then, once again, Seth freaking Rollins. That's another one to take on for Austen Theory. Either one of those two. Seth Rollins built star power. He doesn't have to be in the main event to be the main event. Right. And just with his accolades and how he acts and how he performs. Sorry, guys. It's all right. That Zoom sound makes it to where you can hear everything. I told you one day we would just have sound effects that would be clack, 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 phones hitting the ground and controllers. Yeah. So, crazy side story with the nephew. Yesterday we're playing WWE 2K23 on Xbox Series X, and that's who he picks. After we're done playing with the Bloodline, he's going to get Logan Paul, and I introduce him to Rob Van Dam, which is an ECW wrestler, and they're our new tag team. We're out there fighting. We were fighting Imperium, and then we fought. And when we fought Imperium, it was in a 3-on-2. We had an extra guy. I think it was Shinsuke Nakamura, right. And he was hyped. So Logan Paul, a good sell.
Right. And I hate to be the person that is a follower, but you have to make an impression. And to me, you want these younger kids to be drawn into wrestling, so you're building the fan base for the future. And so you've got to introduce people like Logan Paul. And like, where'd Austen Theory come from? Right. These little kids that are learning about wrestling and getting excited about it. Where did he come from?
They don't want to see Austen Theory.
Exactly.
Even John Cena said that in the promo. So, so on that deal, Austen Theory versus John Cena, who's your pick?
I feel like Austen Theory is going to win by a fault. I hope John Cena wins, but I feel like something's going to happen and Austen Theory's going to win.
And then that'll just make Austen Theory's career bomb, because they'll be like, he went over John Cena. Right. And it didn't have a long enough build up for them to go over. Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul. Who'd you taking in that?
See, I'm kind of on the downfall of Seth Rollins. I used to like him. I don't like the character that they're having him portray right now. But of course, that's just my opinion. A lot of people still like him. Oh, yeah. And I agree with you. He does have a lot of talent. And he is, what is his name? Dolph Ziggler. He's another guy like him. He enhances other people's talent, right?
Yeah, and I can give you that, but I almost put him a step above that.
But that's the one you always give me in reference.
Yeah, Dolph Ziggler is the guy that builds people up.
Right. Yeah. And Seth Rollins, I mean, if he's with Logan Paul, they're going to make it look good. Yeah.
Now, I'll say this. Seth Rollins and him, if you pay attention to the history that's going on between them, I feel like Seth Rollins is going to win this, because Logan Paul has cost Seth Rollins quite a bit of stuff, United States title, some different things. So the build-up, and you always know, we can't really make a prediction because today is Wednesday. Right. And we haven't had Friday SmackDown. And Friday SmackDown, which that's awfully close to WrestleMania, that's kind of crazy. They might not even have them on there.
Well, they do it all. They do Friday, day 1, Saturday, day 2, Sunday, and then you have Monday Night Raw. So you have all 4 of those shows like back to back. And I'm going to just throw this out here. I hate 2-day WrestleMania. I think it sucks. I think it's stupid. And they need to fix it.
I liked it during the pandemic because it gave me something to live for.
Yeah, but that stuff doesn't exist to a lot of people anymore.
Right. And plus they had it in that crazy arena with the screen. We were on there one time with the screens. Now,
now I think it's just a money pit because you want people to spend 4 days there and buy the pass for all 4 days. And just change it back to how y'all had it.
It was magical. It was 3 hours. It was fun.
Right.
Now we're on to our first women's match. Now, I want to say this before we talk about this. A 6-woman tag match, when you have women tag team belts that could be defended, to me is a waste of a match.
I agree.
Trish Stratus, Lita, and Becky Lynch. Lita and Becky Lynch are the current tag team champions because they won the belts from Damage Control at some point in the last month and a half. This match right here was something that could just sit on SmackDown. It could be on Raw. It, to me, and not discrediting women's wrestling,
right,
is 2 Hall of Famers, and Becky Lynch is a future Hall of Famer too.
Right. Against
Bayley, future Hall of Famer, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky, which I'd still call her Io Shirai, or I forgot what I called her real name.
Io Shirai?
Io Shirai, yeah. Io Shirai is what she used to be called. This match does wonders for me if it was on SmackDown.
Right. This should be your normal...
Or the kickoff match.
Yeah, your Monday or Friday match. I agree. I don't know what the WWE is trying to do with their women. I am very disappointed in what they're doing with them. Like, why aren't there more women's tag team matches during pay-per-views? Like, why are we doing these daggone unimportant matches? Like, if I'm gonna pay for a pay-per-view, I want to see some title matches. I don't want to see something that I can turn around and see at a house show.
Right. And my thing here with this is that, no offense to Trish Stratus or Lita, but they're part-timers.
Right.
They're only going to wrestle for a big paycheck, and then they're gone. Well, I don't know about Lita, but Trish Stratus is only showing up for big paychecks.
Right, and that's what I feel like they're doing. I feel like they have nobody that can partner with Becky Lynch, so they're pulling in Trish Stratus and Lita because they're big names. I mean... use the females that you already have there, the ones that you're trying to use all the time. Quit with the same people, though. That's my issue.
So
we get it. Charlotte Flair's a freaking champ again.
So on this one, I'm going to put Lita and then we're going to go over. There's no reason for Damage Control to win. It doesn't hurt them if they lose.
Right.
Because they're the heels. They're the bad guys. And with that being said, we move on to a singles match that's very interesting to me. The WWE has been burying Brock Lesnar since Triple H has taken over.
Right. But I feel more drawn to Brock Lesnar's character without Paul Heyman.
And without a world title, right?
Yeah.
Because he's tough.
Right. Whether he has a belt or not, I think his character it's funny and it's irritating and it's annoying and it's everything that you need rolled up into one little ball. Because when he came out there with the cowboy hats and the boots, I thought that was entertaining.
Now I'll say this. I really needed Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar 3.
Okay.
I could have had this here because their matches, watching them two wrestle, was exciting this year.
Yeah.
Him wrestling Omos.
Maybe?
Yeah, Omos. I'm sorry, I butchered his
name.
name.
Like we said, we don't know how to pronounce these names.
I call him Osmosis. When he wrestles Osmosis, he's going to beat Osmosis. But the thing is that for Osmosis...
You would think.
Yeah, but the thing about Osmosis, let me give him his props. Because how did he go from being in a tag team match last year with AJ Styles to almost main event in WrestleMania?
Wasn't he like a bodyguard last year?
He was a bodyguard.
Something?
He was a bodyguard 2 years during the pandemic. And
okay.
He went from being a bodyguard to wrestling a tag team match, and now he's wrestling singles matches.
Right.
So dude's got stock value. It's because he's big, and you don't have that kind of character.
Right.
And he's limited in his wrestling ability, but... he's big, so he hits you with hammer hits. You're going to hit the ground.
Right.
So in that match, I had Brock Lesnar going over because I have no reason. It does nothing for Brock Lesnar's stock to lose. If he loses, he'll just come back and beat up somebody else.
Right. And like you said, these two guys are... obviously, I know who Brock Lesnar is, and I know who Omos is. but I've not really seen him wrestle. I haven't paid attention to none of that.
Right, because
he doesn't draw me in. But like I said, Brock Lesnar kind of draws me in because all the changes and stuff like that. And it's like, he's a bad guy. And when you hear that music, you can't help but just get a little bit excited and like, yeah.
And you say Suplex City.
Yep.
Right. Now, once again, a disclaimer that we're going to put on here is that this card is subject to change. And what is on Wikipedia may not be right. Because what I'm seeing in front of me right now, the 5th and 6th match, disgruntled me very much. Because you have both women's belts being, if this happens this way, I'm going to be really pissed off. You have both women's belts being showed on the same night.
Because the WWE no longer cares about their females, is the way I see it.
And I could probably go with that.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, I understand that a lot of it is supposed to be on looks and stuff like that, but you also got to put it based on talent.
Right. So what I see here in this first match, Bianca Belair versus Asuka. Asuka. I say Asuka. Y'all hear me? Y'all know I chop stuff up.
So how did this match come to be?
This was just some build-up that happened because Rhea Ripley didn't choose Bianca Belair. So the thing here is that Belair's been the champion for over a year.
Okay.
You're clearly not going to have her lose to...
But if they have to have her lose to somebody, why not Asuka? I mean, she's obviously been a champ before, and that's what the WWE is good at, is recycling their women's champions.
Well, the thing is we're looking at who's selling stuff. And
right.
We know girls is twirling their head around with that long braid and probably buying her Barbie dolls or her toys.
I understand that, and I have zero negative things to say about Bianca Belair. So
I feel like she's going to retain because it makes sense for the business, as Triple H would say.
Right.
If she loses, nobody's going to be hurt. Either that's one of the probably the most transparent matches. Either one comes out a winner, and Belair could come back the next month at whatever the pay-per-view is, or she could just win Money in the Bank. Well, she don't even have to do that because she's on main event status.
Right.
So that match right there should have been Belair versus Liv Morgan. It should have been Belair versus someone else other than Asuka.
Right. And nothing negative against Asuka. Because,
she can wrestle.
Exactly. And she's been in there a while. But like we stated before, or I have stated before, I'm tired of seeing recycled champions. I get it when they say, we want to use whoever's selling product. I get that to an extent.
Well, what about Shotzi in the tank with the green hair? Shotzi could have at least let her get on the green stage. We could have had a battle royal or even a fatal 4-way.
Right.
Something that would have been entertaining there. So we made our choices on that one. Now let's go on to what's supposedly going to be the main event tonight for this pay-per-view. Or not tonight, but for Saturday. Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. This is an interesting take because you're taking Raw's best women's wrestler, which is Rhea Ripley, hands down, because she is with her group, and she has not been wrestling women at all.
Right.
She was beating up Escobar. She beat up all kinds of males. She's been hitting with that pump handle slam outside the ring. She's basically the new Chyna.
Right.
So it was really perplexing to me to let her win the Royal Rumble and let her go on to face Charlotte Flair, which it's a rivalry.
Right.
But why?
Because they have to help build the Dominic line. And since she's in his group, they've got to make her character relevant.
Okay.
In order to keep his character relevant. I think that it all ties together that way.
Yeah, I can see that. But the thing is if she wins a belt, she goes to SmackDown, they stay on Raw unless they do some brand swap or drafts.
Isn't the thing coming up soon? Doesn't that happen right after WrestleMania?
Normally it does. So we could see it toss up there. So overall, what we have tentatively for night one, what do you see as the best match on this whole card? Tentatively from what we have.
You mean which one am I actually going to pay attention to and not my phone?
Yes.
Probably the Bianca Belair and Asuka.
Now for me, it's going to be The Austen Theory versus John Cena. My second place one's going to be that Seth Rollins match. Because Seth Rollins is going to hit that stirrup comp. I didn't even say it right. The
Curve stomp.
Curve stomp from the top ropes on that dude's head.
Okay.
Or he'll do a springboard into it.
I'd say that's probably the second one that
And then the rest
I can probably tolerate. But the rest of them, I'm just like, all right, who wins?
Then we go over to the undecided night, because night 2 hasn't been decided.
Right. The only thing that is decided from what we can tell is obviously the final match for the undisputed Universal Championship.
And we'll get into that in just a moment.
Right.
Now let's get into my title. Everybody knows I'm a fan of the Intercontinental title. When I play wrestling games, that's the first bout I win. Normally I don't even win the heavyweight bout. We have my guy, Gunther. Now Gunther went the distance with Cody Rhodes in the Royal Rumble. He even chopped up Brock Lesnar. Gunther is one who has gotten into tremendous shape, and he is going to be a champion, a heavyweight champion, if they ever split the belts up. He won't be an undisputed champion, but if they ever split them belts, he'll be a heavyweight champion. This match right here is the United Nations. It's Europe. Sheamus, Drew McIntyre. For Gunther, it's an easy win in my book, because there's no reason to elevate Drew McIntyre or Sheamus, because Drew McIntyre is in the heavyweight title picture. Sheamus, his best days are past him.
I don't know. See, none of these really stick out to me again. I think Sheamus is not as high on their radar as the other two, because obviously Gunther's the champion and Drew McIntyre had that tiny push there for a limited amount of time
During the pandemic.
Yeah. And then you have Sheamus, and I feel like they've kind of underutilized him throughout the whole pandemic, but that also could have been personal reasons and stuff like that. So maybe they're trying to get him back into the swing of things. And that's kind of where we're dealing at. I feel like this year and coming forward, I feel like all of the restrictions are either lifted or they're going to be completely lifted here soon. So it's going to make it easier to utilize different wrestlers. But I feel like these WrestleMania matches are still kind of, let's throw who we think people want to see in there.
And I mean, this feud has a great build-up from SmackDown, because Sheamus, where they gave him that new group, the Dirty Dogs or whatever, it was him with formerly, they call him Butch now, Butch, and the guy that broke Holland, the one that broke Big E's neck. They have him in a group, and then they let Drew McIntyre kind of join along with them, because they were all from Europe and they were just trying to do whatever, because they were trying to have a Imperium and another group. Which Sheamus had that other group without Drew McIntyre, and it was fine, because that would have been a 6-man tag that I could have sat through, even if they didn't defend the Intercontinental belt. I wouldn't be mad, because Gunther and Imperium versus Sheamus and the Dirty Dogs, or whatever they're called. And boom, Drew McIntyre in the mix. I guess they're just trying to wait for a filler program for him. Now, with that, that's one match that, even though I'm calling Gunther, I want him to win. Anybody could win that match, and it could boost any of them to anywhere on SmackDown. That's just the cause for the Intercontinental belt, how it rolls. It's a secondary title. They just do it whenever they want to.
Right.
Now on to this next match. Finn Balor versus Edge. Now this is the Demon.
No, I was going to say it's not Finn Balor.
The Demon.
Yes.
So he's going to come out, and then Edge is going to probably come out in the Brood type with the blood and the vampire stuff.
So it says it's a Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, and that's probably going to be the best match of WrestleMania.
So this is essentially a cage match, right?
Yeah,
like
that's the full...
You can't get out, or is it one where you try to get out and you win?
The Hell in a Cell is the full cage that goes all the way around.
Okay.
Like when the Undertaker threw the dude off the cage. That's the Hell in a Cell cage. Okay. So that's going to probably be the best match, because they're going to entertain in there. And you're going to have Damian Priest come out, and you're going to have Beth Phoenix come out. But the problem with that is that Rhea Ripley is going to be taken away from her group from this. So, and then, Dominic's not going to be part of the group either. So if Damian Priest comes out and helps Finn Balor win, that's how I see that one going.
Right, and I feel like that's how it's going to go. I feel like the Demon Finn Balor is going to take this one.
Right, but he's not going to win clean. You beg to differ?
I don't know. We haven't watched any TV matches in a long time.
Well,
I get my information from what I see on Facebook.
Oh, well, I've been watching
I didn't say you haven't. I said we haven't.
Okay.
There's a difference.
Now, this next match is the Women's Wrestlemania Showcase Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match. Now, one thing I want to say about this real quick. This is probably going to be the first match on the first night. I can be both of the showcase matches, so let me break down the talent. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Raquel is a women's champion in the making. Mm-hmm. Natalya and Shotzi. Natalya is in one of those stretches where she is a refined veteran.
Yes.
Shotzi came up from NXT and has a very vibrant feel. The Tank thing, she's got to look to where she's going to sell stuff. Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler.
I thought she'd taken another break there. I didn't know she was back again.
Yeah, she's back. Ronda Rousey taking a back seat at WrestleMania is an amazing thing that shows the maturity and the growth in her as a wrestler.
Yes.
So that one, amazing. Chelsea Green coming back and her being the wife of Matt Cardona, a.k.a. the indie wrestling god, a.k.a. Zack Ryder, and Sonya Deville. Every one of those tag teams, that match makes sense. But that could have been a battle royal for the women's title, or the tag team titles could have been involved in this. All of these women are not given a fair shot at the tag team belts because of Lita winning it with Becky Lynch.
Right.
So they wasted the
Again, they're recycling their talent. They're recycling their winners.
So had this match been a women's tag team match, this would have been explosive. But I don't know how Ronda Rousey goes from being at the top of the card all the way to the bottom of the card.
Pretty much. That's what it feels like with this, yeah.
And why not do justice to the tag team titles? Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler could win those belts and dominate the tag team division.
Didn't they have the belt there for a little while?
Shayna Baszler had them with Nia Jax.
Okay.
And they dominated.
Okay.
Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville.
But then at the same time, you have two big women, and not meaning that in a rude way, but you have probably two of your strongest women tagging together, and a lot of these other females are pretty petite.
Right.
Like short wise too.
So that would be
So that would be kind of difficult to it's not easy to pull a belt off of Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax.
Well, that's like I'm saying. If they won them, Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan could win because Raquel, she does the flex. She does the flex. Yeah. Now, I'm interested in with the Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville because that's a villain group. That's your heel group right there. And they're going to be there for comic relief.
Okay, so explain the Fatal 4-Way Tag match to me. Is it once you are pinned, you're out? Or is it the first one pinned wins the matches?
First one that pins wins the match.
Okay, so it doesn't matter who pins who. Like if all four groups are there and group A and B pin one another, that completes the match. Right. Okay.
Now on to the men's showcase, which this is probably going to be the first match. Now on that one, I'm going to say tag team wise, because we didn't cover that. Women's, I want to say that Ronda Rousey and them are going to win.
I'd say probably Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. I would like to see Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez win.
That would be exciting.
But I feel like Chelsea Green's going to go, because they got her like the Karen era type thing going on. And I still feel like Sonya Deville is more of a administrative person, so I don't know what's going on there. And of course, Natty, she's just also another
elder statesman.
Right.
So the next thing that we would go into is the men's showcase, which is the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match. Now this one, Braun Strowman, Ricochet, the Street Profits, Alpha Academy, Viking Raiders. This hurts my heart here. Because once again,
I'm going to just say it. I am tired of seeing so many people wrestle at one time. I feel like they're turning the WWE into tag teams.
We want tag teams. That's if the belts were split. If the belts were split, this would be fun. But you can't have universal undisputed champions.
I understand that.
So
I just, like, to me, it's a lot. And it's like, I'm tired of seeing the same people over and over again.
And the new tag team of Braun Strowman and Ricochet, with this one, I'm just going to say this. Street Profits need to win this because they're almost at that level of what the New Rockers were when it was Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels kicked Marty Jannetty through the glass window. Montez Ford is going to eventually have to turn heel, or Angelo Dawkins is going to have to turn heel, and they're going to have to break up the Street Profits because Montez Ford is getting jacked up. Otis and Chad Gable are going to break up because Otis is about to become Otis with the modeling agency. Chad Gable is almost at the level that he should be fighting for the United States belt. He should have been a United States champion right now. He should actually be in the match with Austen Theory. Mm-hmm. I'd rather see that.
Right.
The Viking Raiders with Valhalla. Valhalla is Sarah Logan. I forgot what issue or injury she has while she's out. But Viking Raiders...
She had a baby pretty recently, didn't she?
Yeah, a little bit ago. The Viking Raiders, they're a filler tag team right now until the belts get split up. Because basically that's what I think is going to happen in WWE. They're going to split the belts up again.
Right, and not to take anything away from them, but they do good at their tag team stuff.
Yeah.
They're one of the few that are legit tag team people.
Right.
Like, and I think that's the thing that goes back to where I'm tired of seeing all these different tag teams.
Right.
Like, keep it consistent. I get you're trying to figure things out and see who works for what. But, I mean, you have the New Day that is good as tag teams. The Viking Raiders that are good as tag teams. The Street Profits obviously are tag teams. But other than that, I feel like you're shoving everybody else down our throat in twos.
Yeah, like Braun Strowman versus Ricochet. I wouldn't mind seeing that match between them two.
Right.
Like, we could have just had a street fight between them two.
Right.
And Ricochet beating him with all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. But they kind of fit as opposites. Like, Ricochet's character and Braun Strowman's character compared to Dawkins and Ford. They're like polar opposites if you look at that.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with Chad Gable and Otis. They're kind of opposites. Now, the Viking Raiders, I think they're similar.
Yeah, they're similar.
I feel like that's why they work really great as a tag team to me.
And they're smooth.
Yeah.
Now, let me say this as a fan. I could have done Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman in a match at WrestleMania.
Haven't we already had that, though?
I'll have to go back and look. Okay. But I still could have had that, or had just a big man match. Throw Bobby Lashley in there, throw Osmos in there, and have a 4-way big man match.
Yeah.
And have it Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
That would have been fun.
Reach out to us for some interesting topics.
Hey, look, I'm just trying to be like Freddie Prinze Jr. When he stopped acting, he wrote the episodes for WWE. He was a writer. Come get me.
And you have some good ideas. Like, some of this stuff out here, like, oh, well, it'd be cool if they did it this way, or it would have made more sense if they did it this way. And so he does have some good creative ideas, so reach out. Just a small cut. Sponsor an episode or two.
Now, tag team match. Undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships. The Usos, Jay and Jimmy Uso, versus Canada's own Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. So here's one thing I'm going to say. There was a build-up. The build-up was this, and this is a simple premise, and people can disagree with me, but I'm giving you complete fact. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, everybody in the world took on Roman Reigns, did not win the title. Mm-hmm. So flushed them down the system. Sami Zayn was riding on the same high that they had when they gave Kofi Kingston the title.
Right.
Back 3 years ago. Sami Zayn.
However long ago it was.
Yeah, however long it was. Been so long. And shout out to New Day. Hopefully everybody comes back from injuries, because that's why we're not seeing y'all. Now, Sami Zayn somehow should have worked his way into a 3-way match between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. Or after the throw up job that happened at freaking the last pay-per-view, because Sami Zayn was almost a champion.
Right.
Sami Zayn shouldn't go down the card for a tag team title match, because here's the two things that happen in WWE. They win the tag team belts off of them. Roman Reigns ain't gonna lose the title.
Right.
if they retain the titles, Roman Reigns can lose the title, and then it can be something big, because then he can go rest. So I want to say this. The Usos retain because if they don't retain, then that means that Roman Reigns will retain. They're not going to have
So you think if the Usos lose the belts, that Roman Reigns is going to win?
Yes.
And you think if the Usos retain, you think that
Roman
Reigns is going to lose?
Yes.
Okay. I see that.
Because you'll notice that Solo Sikoa is nowhere across this across this thing.
Right. And like you said, I don't feel like there's enough build up and any I don't think there was enough for Roman Reigns to lose the title match at WrestleMania.
Right. Well, we'll dig into that in just a second.
But well, you brought it up in that match, so
right.
I had to. You might as well talk about it together. I've always liked the Usos. I think what draws me in is their music. That they got a rough background and they still seem to get away with everything.
So I'll tell you what would have been my setup. What happened here was that there should have been a Sami Zayn versus Jey Uso. Jey Uso played Sami Zayn, so let them have had some type of match to finish their feud. Why bring Kevin Owens into the mix? Because
they have to use the tag teams at WrestleMania.
Right.
Who else are they going to wrestle? Jim Bob out in the back? So they have an automatic win?
But they could have had them in their corners.
But they have to defend the titles. When's the last time they actually defended the titles?
I don't know. It was 1 week on. They just defended them not too long ago.
No, but that's why I'm asking. Like, legit, when is the last time they defended the titles?
Yeah, they defended them, but it was like on Raw or SmackDown.
Okay,
they go
on a
everywhere.
pay-per-view then.
No, it's been a while.
Yeah.
All right, and then on to this next match. This next match doesn't have to happen. This match would have only made sense if Eddie Guerrero was still alive.
I'm tired of this angle.
Unless Rey Mysterio is going to retire. If he's going to retire and beat Dominic, I'm good. But we don't need Dominic to win.
Right. I'm sorry. I wasn't a huge fan of Rey Mysterio because I didn't necessarily watch him a lot. Back when I was watching my old stuff from 2016, he came in a few times in those episodes that I've caught up on. I think he's a very interesting and talented wrestler. He does some crap that you don't think is possible. But Dominic,
Austen Theory.
Yeah.
Austen Theory.
I feel like he's just some random puffy dude they grabbed off the street and are trying to turn him into a wrestler. That's the persona that I get from him. He's a dirty, greasy dude they pulled out of jail.
and my thing is this, is like, I follow Rey Mysterio for all of his career because he's been around most of my life.
Right.
I watched him from a cruiserweight in WCW. I watched him even over there in ECW. A lot of people don't pay attention to that. This man is like Chris Jericho when it comes to wrestling. He's wrestled everywhere. He's been a world champion. Mm-hmm. One of the first little guys to actually win a belt and actually make it look good. Did he have to win on some special terms? Sometimes, but he does have recorded wins over the Big Show, other people like that, Mark Henry and other people. So this is what I'm going to say about this. Rey Mysterio's had a great career. There's no reason to end your career with a match against your son. Right. Someone that probably, if he had started training for wrestling when he should have, had a muscular build
right.
to him, he looks like some dude that works at 7-Eleven on a late night shift.
He looks like some dirty, greasy dude they pulled out of jail.
Right.
That has never done an ounce of weightlifting in his life.
And he's not and I think that Vince McMahon and them just have him around because the one thing I will say is he does wrestle decent.
Does he?
Yeah. He's a subpar wrestler. With time, if there was still a cruiserweight belt, give that dude the cruiserweight belt. Give him a TV title if we had one.
Okay.
Which WWE bring a TV title back. Makes sense.
Just not the 24-hour belt.
Yeah, no more.
That's exhausting.
Yeah, I think they retired that.
Right, but you said bring the TV title back again. I was just reiterating, we're not requesting the 24 title belt.
Yeah, bring back that TV title.
I feel like Dominic's going to win on some slash shit.
Yeah, and I can see that happening. Because Rey Mysterio is going to be like, man, my career is over,
Right.
Go into the Hall of Fame the night before. And he's did everything he can do in his career. I mean, hell, he even killed a man, so...
Right.
What more can you do in wrestling? And I know that was kind of harsh, so I didn't mean that in a derogatory way, but I mean, he technically did kill a guy wrestling,
right.
so... You know, Rey Mysterio's done it all. He was in the Lucha Libre thing that was on TV for a little while. That was on Netflix and stuff. So he's done a lot. Overall, we're going to move on to the big one. And we've hinted at this match. And I'm going to be short about this one. The undisputed title, it's going to be Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman in his corner, the Mouth, against Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare. WWE's trash, AEW's failure, Ring of Honor's champion, Impact Wrestling's champion. That's his title. I don't care what no one says about it, how they want to do him. WWE failed him, and he failed the WWE. But when he left, he went on a roll. He made the Bullet Club fashionable. I started wearing Bullet Club stuff because of him. I didn't wear his stuff, but I was with the Kenny the Cleaner. I was with that New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's exciting. My problem, and this has been my problem, and this is why we don't watch wrestling on a continuous basis on either show now. WWE does build storylines sometimes, and they have long-winded ones. Like Roman Reigns' storyline with every wrestler is long-winded.
Right.
He's going to beat you. You're going to get mad, but you're not going to come back a second time.
Right.
Unless there's nobody else to face. But that hasn't been the case because they've been giving him wrestlers, and he's beat everybody. It's not going to change.
Right.
It's no reason for Cody Rhodes to win with a weak build-up.
Right.
Why give him the build-up of what you've made Royal Rumble about? Somebody comes in.
It would do no justice to either one of them.
Right.
It makes no sense.
What makes sense is let's put this dude on the road of redemption. He loses to Roman Reigns. Mm-hmm. He goes a full year and has the best matches of his life at every pay-per-view. He goes out here and actually wrestles everyone because he has been putting on some matches lately. But let him truly earn it. Why would you make this fairy tale story when he's going to win the belt and lose it before SummerSlam?
Right. Prove that he's going to stay. Prove that he's going to do something for the WWE, like you said. He's going to lose on Sunday, but he's going to come back on Monday morning and be the face of Raw for the next year.
Or SmackDown or whatever he's on. Yeah, and it makes sense.
Right. Well, I feel like Roman Reigns' character is more prominent on SmackDown, so that's why I chose Raw.
Right. Oh, yeah, I can see that. Now, let something shiesty happen. Let Cody Rhodes win the belts and then take it the next month and split them belts up.
Yeah.
Give him the Universal or the WWE Championship. Pretty much just give him the WWE and keep him overall.
Right. So, this is for... It says undisputed WWE Universal Championship. So is that both belts combined? Is what they are doing the match for?
Yes.
Okay.
Winner takes all.
Have you heard any discussion about the possibility of splitting the titles in the future?
That's what the big thing's been going on lately. Dave Meltzer and all those guys that talk about all this stuff. It's going to be a brand split.
Right.
And if Cody Rhodes wins, they're going to do a brand split on him. And he's going to lose the belt at SummerSlam.
Right, and that'd be fine. My thing is, whichever one Roman has carried the longest, I feel like they should let him keep that one for just a little bit longer. And when they split, he loses the one that he just acquired most recently.
So then he loses the WWE belt.
Okay, so which brand is that?
That's Raw's belt. He beat Brock Lesnar for that and has kept it for a year and some change.
So that would be my theory, is that they're going to let him keep the SmackDown belt just a little bit longer than they're going to allow him to keep the Raw belt. And they're going to split them up at some point. Because otherwise they're going to continue to recycle their talent, and we're going to get tired of seeing the same thing.
Because the only match that we got to have now, if we're going to have one, will be Roman Reigns versus Austen Theory. And just give him the United States belt, too.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, that's... Because he beat everybody, and I can't see Roman Reigns facing Edge.
Right, because you can't let John Cena come in and lose to Austen Theory and then be like, oh, let me take the belt off Roman Reigns.
Nah.
I could see John Cena coming in and taking the belt off of Austen Theory and then challenging Roman Reigns and taking the Raw belt at some point, because maybe Austen Theory or somebody beats John Cena in a bad way. I don't know. I could see something like that happening.
Right.
But anybody that they have in there right now, I can't make it make sense that Roman Reigns would lose to them. And like you said, for Cody Rhodes. It's not enough of a build-up or enough background to warrant him taking the titles off of Roman Reigns.
True. And my thing with that is and before we get off of here, and I want to thank you for going in depth with me with this, because this is, wrestling is our thing. For Cody Rhodes, if he lost and then he went to another pay-per-view and he won one of the belts off of him, or something happened, it would be fine for him to carry a belt that way. Right. But if he wins at WrestleMania, he has to lose to Seth Rollins. He has to lose to someone else that's more credible than him.
Right.
And then here's the big thing that everybody's forgetting about. This match could be a swerve real quick, because Randy Orton could run out and kick Cody Rhodes in the head, because they have history and they are not friends in the wrestling terms.
Right. Now, the Money in the Bank's already been cashed in, right? And they can't cash that in.
Yeah,
right?
we're actually waiting to do the next Money in the Bank.
Okay. So all of those have been cashed in. Okay.
Yes.
And Randy Orton's been out a while, right? Or is he back?
He's back. Supposedly he's back. That's what I heard. I don't know.
Has he been on TV recently?
I haven't seen him on TV, so that's the only thing I got to worry about there.
So, I feel like Roman Reigns is going to win this one, but I don't know that he's going to win it clean. It could be a build up to something else. Like, it could be Roman Reigns is going to win, but because of interference, and that's how Cody Rhodes is going to get a rematch at
Backlash,
SummerSlam or Backlash or something, and that's when they split the belts up.
Right. So anything that happens at Backlash would make sense, because it's going to be revenge for something that happens.
Right. Okay.
So I just don't want Cody Rhodes' reign to be wasted.
Right.
And then everybody will be happy if it's a swerve job, because then they'll be mad at Vince McMahon.
Right.
But
so we were talking about WrestleMania 39, and that makes sense though. Maybe they'll let Roman keep it until 40, because that'd be an impressive number.
Yeah. April 1st and 2nd.
Which is this weekend coming up. You can watch on Peacock, I believe. As far as I know, that's the only way you can watch it, unless you're actually going to the shows. It says it will be hosted by The Miz this year. WrestleMania Goes Hollywood. And he's got some pretty entertaining commercials out there. If you haven't seen it, check them out.
Yeah, no doubt in that. And then another thing that I want everybody to pay attention to, and you'll see key things drop about this. Now, July 1st, 2023, that will be Money in the Bank. So if something goes astray, or if someone wins in that mid-card level, that makes sense. Like if Gunther loses or keeps winning, Gunther's going to have to get a shot at the belt somewhere, because he's held that title for almost a year, like 360 days for the Intercontinental belt. So you've got a strong mid-card that needs to move up to the main event. That's why I'm afraid for Cody Rhodes, because Cody Rhodes ain't beating Gunther. And y'all heard it straight from JR from West Virginia Uncommonplace. Now, on a brighter note, I want to thank you all for listening to this wrestling episode. I need to cover some more wrestling, but WrestleMania is a Super Bowl of wrestling. And Stacey, thank you for taking your time. I know that wrestling has been a limited attraction for you to certain degrees. And for you doing quick research real fast and pulling stuff together, that's been amazing on your part, because we're sitting here, we record like 2 shows, 3 shows at a time when we're doing this kind of stuff. And this episode will actually be out sometime this week, because I got to put it out before Friday, because we don't step on King Germ's terms, because Friday's the King Germ in the Frocast episode. So this thing probably will come on out on Wednesday. So once again, I'm JR.
And I'm Stacey.
And this is West Virginia Uncommonplace. This is our WrestleMania preview. Make sure that you tune in on Peacock. We are not sponsored by them, but that's the best way to get the show if you're going to get it. And other than that, keep following the show. The British lady tells you what you need to know at the end.
Please follow WV Uncommonplace on Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, TikTok, where we have some great content, Facebook, LinkedIn. Hit up the merch store at oncommonplace.square.site. Join the email list from the website, and rate, subscribe, and give feedback from your favorite podcatcher. And lastly, thanks for listening, and tune into the next episode.